looking at the musical element of tempo. It's part of what makes music expressive. So what is tempo? Tempo is the speed of the music. It's how fast or slow a piece goes. Much of what we look at in the pop world has a specific speed. And those of you who work out to pop music will know that there are great pieces. There's a bunch of pieces that work really well for jumping rope or running in place or whatever you've got going on. But before we actually look at the different terms that we use for tempo in the musical world, we need to get rid of a little bit of terminology. So just as a reminder, in music, we had to agree on a common language because people of all different languages were writing in Europe. And the two places where music became a big deal were in France and Italy. Those were kind of the two places where music was going on. And the Italians took over. And so for much of the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, terms for directions in music were all in Italian. So we're going to learn a few Italian words today so that you can understand, have some idea of what programs are talking about when they use these terms. So first, a look at a typical page in a classical program. If you go to, say, watch the symphony at a big concert hall, and you might see this title of a Symphony Number 41 in C major by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And then you'll see these things. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll see these terms that are all in a language that are foreign. Allegro vivace, andante cantabile, minuet, allegretto, trio, molto allegro. So what does that mean? So we're going to unpack what some of these terms mean so that the next time you go to a concert, you might have some idea of what to anticipate when you see those terms. So first, let's look at fast tempos. The most important, probably the most common fast tempo that we see is the term allegro. And those of you who have a Spanish background, this term is related to the word alegría. And so we have, allegro just basically means happy or lively. It's an easy tempo and hence it's often the most common used tempo for a fast, relatively fast. Here's our next word, vivace. And notice that with the Italian, you're gonna, if you have a CE, you're gonna say ch instead of vivace. It's vivace. And the definition of vivace is vivacious. You can see possibly a connection between those two. Vivace is faster than allegro. And the next one, con brio. Con means with, and brio is like Brillo pad. It means with brilliance. And then, and that just means it's a much brighter. So often they'll say allegro con brio, which means it's a little bit faster than a regular allegro. And here's another con one, with fuoco. And based on this picture, you can make the guess that it's probably with fire, with lots of energy. Now, our last fast tempo is this one, presto. And you may have heard the term presto changeo. Well, that means something that's going to happen very fast. So presto means quickly. It is the fastest of our fast tempos. The most important term that I want you to know from these fast tempos is allegro. Now let's look at slow tempos. Oh, all right. So what the first one is adagio, and that just means slowly. And our second one is grave, which is serious. And follow that by largo. It kind of sounds like large. And notice we have our stretch mini here. It means broadly. And we'll leave those as our slow tempos. So largo, grave, and adagio. And I'd like you to know largo and adagio. And then we have our moderate tempos because not everything is in extremes. We don't have only slow and fast. Sometimes there's something in the middle. So hence we have our middle of the road here. And the first one is the term moderato, which is just middle of the road. It's moderately. It's easy to pull that one off of there. Another one is andante, which is basically a moving tempo, a walking tempo. Now, sometimes when we get to composers want to have a little bit. And so we say almost. So we'll say allegretto, almost allegro, and which means it's not quite as fast. Almost happy, fast but not fast. Some of us are allegretto a lot of times. All right, so when we get to the 1800s, we start to see other countries saying, hey, we don't want to use Italian. We want to use our own language for tempo markings. So especially in Germany, we see a huge music tradition going on there, and there's nationalism. And so we start to see the terms in German. So here's one, lebhaft, and that just means lively. And this is for your information in case it shows up in a concert and you want to know one. And here's a really good one, mit leidenschaftlichem Ausdruck. So what in the world does that mean? It's a great word. It means with sorrowful expression. So sad. So it's a way of defining expression. We could use English for that, but the Germans are very descriptive, and obviously this, if you're a German composer writing, then you probably want to use that. So let's go back to this tempo page that we were talking about. Allegro vivace. Well, allegro, is this going to be fast or slow? We've already decided allegro is lively and vivace is vivacious. So very lively or very happy first movement. Now here we have andante cantabile. Well, what is andante? Andante is going or moving. It's a walking tempo. It's going to be slower than the first movement. And cantabile is related to the word cantar, or to sing. So it's a singing, it moves. It's not a really stretched out one. It's a middle of the road tempo. And it's a singing one. Here we have a minuetto that's an allegretto. So it's not quite as fast as the allegro. It's a little slower. And then finally, we have molto allegro. Now, we didn't talk about molto, but for those of you who want to know, molto means very or much. And so this side, it's very allegro. Anyway, hopefully this will help you. We have a fast, a medium, and then this little fast, and then very fast. And often that is a formula that we're going to be talking about later in this quarter. So here you go for tempos.